Welcome back to Testing the Internet series. You're watching part 16, Hovers. In the previous video, you learned how to insert a username and a password into a login form and submit the form by pressing Enter. In this video, you will learn how to handle hover effects on web pages using Leapwork. If you've ever struggled with elements that only appear when you hover, you know how frustrating it can be. Maybe you couldn't capture a hidden element, your test failed because the UI shifted on hover, or a drop-down refused to open during playback. It happens because many automation tools can't simulate real mouse over actions. They fail to detect UI changes triggered by hover, or they don't allow targeting elements inside dynamically revealed containers. That's where Leapwork can help you. To demonstrate, we'll show you a simple scenario. This test case is about hovering elements and what happens when you hover them. And in this case, we can see that hovering one of the person images reveals some additional information about this person. And you can see the changes when we are hovering over the different images. So the test case here is to hover all the images one by one and make sure that the information below the images are visible on hovering. Let's proceed to create an automation flow for this scenario in Leapwork Studio. Let's begin with Start Recorder to launch the test case page. First, we'll capture one of the user images on the page and apply the hover web element block. This block simulates moving the mouse over an element, perfect for when something only becomes visible on hover, like the user details below each image. Next, we'll capture the text that appears under the image after the hover using Find Web Element. That's it for now. Let's save and close the recorder. After that, we'll go into Edit Web Element to refine our hover target. We'll open the web tree and click Validate, giving us access to the full markup. You'll see we've selected the image Use Avatar, but for our purpose, we want to select the figure tag, so we'll right-click it and click Capture. Once we do this, the browser highlights the selected element with a red square. We actually want to target all three views that have the class figure. To do that, we'll remove any reference to the first user by deleting the condition and clicking Validate. Now, all three figure elements are matched. Let's save the strategy. Next, we'll edit the strategy for the caption. Here, we'll simply remove any reference to user 1 and click Validate. This makes it work for all similar elements on the page. Saving the strategy, let's move ahead. The next step is to connect the found element of hover web element block to the source of the Find Web Element block. This will do a query inside a query, meaning whatever element we search for next, like the caption text, will only be searched inside the specific image container we hovered. In this case, we're looking for the text element inside the div we hovered using the hover web element. Finally, we'll check if the caption is visible by comparing its visibility property to True. If the details don't show on hover, the test fails. But since we set use occurrence to all, each element is hovered one by one. If the information appears for all, the flow passes. Our flow is ready to be executed. Let's run it. And yes, our test case passed. First, Leapwork hovered over the first image container and found the heading text H5 inside it. It checked if the text was visible, and yes, it was. Next, it moved to the second image container, hovered over it, found the text again, and confirmed it was visible. It hovered over the third image container, located the same kind of text inside, and once again verified the visibility. And finally, since all three elements were successfully hovered and the details were visible each time, the flow passed. Simple, smooth, and reliable. Now, let's quickly recap the flow we followed to build our automation scenario. We started the test case, hovered over the image container using the hover web element block, then used Find Web Element to capture the text that appears on hover. After saving and refining our strategies for both image and caption elements, We verified visibility using a compare block and set it to run on all similar elements. And finally, the flow ran perfectly with all the expected results. Let's wrap up what this lesson taught you. You learned how to automate real hover actions, capture dynamic content, and validate visibility, all in one smooth, no-code flow. Give this exercise a try yourself and see how much faster your automation can be. Moreover, to keep learning or if you ever feel stuck, explore our documentation, knowledge base, and reach out to support if needed. The answers are just a click away. Thank you for staying with us and see you in the next automation journey.